So the project, what we are working is on women's safety and security in public areas. And where you're going to use a crowdsourced data. And towards the end, we're trying to develop a mobile app. In this project, we have the principal investigator, Dr. Brian D. He's from UNSW, associate professor, and he is a city planner and mostly is into transport planning. And myself, I'm Sundeep. I'm a co-PI, architect and city planner. And the third partner is Dr. Anup Shukla. He's a GIS expert. He's one of our co-PI and is my colleague here. And let me quickly give you an overview of what we're going to present. We are going to talk about the current project and how this is based on the previous projects, a similar one, what we had worked on, and the current updates, what we are going right now, and the three bilateral collaborations, how three of us are our expertise and future directions. So the current project is on women's safety. That is, we are going to understand the women's safety in Udupi, especially in Udupi context, Udupi district. That is because based on a literature study, we have understood how this women's safety is getting impacted through various studies. Our major source of data was through census as well as through police records and HDI report that was available. So through that, we have shortlisted some of the areas in Udupi, and that has come down to certain wards because in India, we have the planning distribution is city and state and districts and for the taluks, and then you have gram panchayats. This is how the segregation of areas are. Now this has come down to 3 wards and village areas here. That has now led down to identification of few spots. Now that categorization has come like in Udupi itself, we have come distributed in 3 identified areas. That is religious area that is near temple, and 1 recreation area that is near a lake, and a commercial zone. In these 3 areas, we would want to identify and understand what is the perception of women for their safety to access these areas and what are the limitations that they would come across. So for this, we have targeted an age group of 18 to 45, particularly women itself. And we have prepared a 20-minute questionnaire, and we have identified 2 volunteers who would go to these places and study this. Now, this could be based on various factors that I'll be explaining in further slides. Previous to this, we had done a similar project, that is to identify, understand what is their mobility pattern. Where are these women traveling to, be it for religious, recreation, or shopping, or to purchase, or to work. Then we have come up with a desired route diagram from where to where, and that has led us to some insights. What is the desired routes where they were going, and how was their mode of transport, whether they were using their own vehicle or public transport, or whether they're traveling alone or with a companion. Now, this is further extension of that because in the previous one, we didn't identify what was the built environment, like what are the factors that has led to it in physical environment. Now, this is a study that is a next level to it. So in this, we are trying to understand what are the physically built factors that I'll be explaining in the next slide, and that would cause as a limitation, and what are the best things that are making them to take a step forward and come up to the gender equality. Now, based on the current literature, I had already explained. So in these 3 areas, what we have done is we have identified few volunteers, and these volunteers we have trained here on how to conduct this survey. So just yesterday only we had winded up one pilot survey where we had asked the volunteers to do a pilot study, collect at least 3 samples from each of the sites, and to come back to us and tell us what problems they had come across in getting the data, because mostly coming across women who are entrepreneurs or who would be using the areas in night times is less. So we had to come up with understanding whether they'll be able to answer, are they comfortable in answering? Because the moment someone approaches you with a questionnaire or something, people take a step back thinking that, what do you want? Why are you asking this? Are you from government? Are you from some agency? This is a major problem. They might not open up. There might be the reasons where they would want to put it across, but not a right platform they would be coming across. So this initial pilot study was to understand the difficulties and strategies to make sure we get all the surveys completed and serve back to them, and to also to let it know the public policy makers, and also the urban city and urban planning designing, how well the city can be designed so that they can use these public spaces without any problem, right? At a judiciary level and at moral level, you have police and other personnel who are available to give you safety. You have CCTVs to take care of that. But what's imprinted on your mind cannot be taken care of. Now we are trying to understand what is the reasons that would be affecting you. So based on a pilot study, what we have understood yesterday is most of the entrepreneurs or the daytime users have answered all our questions without any hesitation. Now we are yet to do the nighttime study, the pilot study that is scheduled for today, right? Starting from 7 to 8:30, that we have to be there and ask them. Mostly we are targeting the religious area. So we need to make sure they spare us some time because they are so involved in religious activities, they might not be willing to. The next thing that would also act as a hindrance is the local language. So for that, our volunteers we have identified is those who could speak and understand the local language. Now, the volunteers we have chosen are our own fifth-year students. We have recently completed one urban context studio where they had understanding about Udupi overall as a context. Now, for this, sorry. Now, what we are looking at is what are the aspects that would prevent the women from accessing the areas. Now, I had categorized as two major aspects. One is on-street aspects and one is off-street. Under the on-street, we have built environment, that is whether it's the building, the compound walls, or the compound walls with which are high built compound walls, or with just trees or trees, how or just the barbed wires that would prevent visibility onto the streets. Then on-street elements, it could be the bushes which are not trimmed, right, or litter on the streets, or any visual obstructions such as billboards or advertisements that are typical part of our streets, what we come across in class 2, 3, 4 tier cities, not metros and the others, but the other cities. That would become a major hindrance. So that would allow people not to make use of these spaces dedicated for them, but then use of the other activities. Then illegal activities may be abandoned, unused buildings or unfenced plots where people might use them to do illegal activities, or maybe to have some drinks, or pass on comments or hide anything. Then the next aspect is a vehicular conflict. On site, as you could see in some of these photographs, there is no designated footpath. Even if it is occupied by the billboards or these electrical lines on the right hand side. If you left hand side, if you could see, there is a chaos. There is no organized way. Now, because of that, pedestrians might compromise on the footpath that is dedicated for them and end up walking on the road. So that brings in a huge conflict between vehicle and human. That needs to be taken care of, because those are the major number of accidents that have been reported during the daytime, and obviously over the night time there is a lack of sense of security. So the women especially would prevent or avoid going out in the night post sunset. Now, under offset category, we have identified few parameters, that is culture and lifestyle, religion and superstition, role of media and social website platforms. Now, with internet easily being available, people could easily just spread rumors about any and everything without understanding the authenticity of the information they have come across. It's just you take it, save it, and just forward it in the different groups that you might be. And that creates a lot of havoc, and that actually impacts on people thinking, is this really happening? How is this happening? Why this is happening? And without understanding authenticity, people try to react and become violent, or they might even go back to cocoon because they might not want to come across those situations and stay back indoors. And religion and superstition. Now, in India, we have many religions, and religions play an important role, especially when women have to go out at what time, or what is the limited activities they are exposed to, unless they are working women. Even for working women, we have some hindrances here. They exist But unfortunately, people do not voice it out. It is just absorbed and they just go with the life how it happens. Now, then the next is the culture and lifestyle. If you come across again, there are many societies or cities itself, you could see they become mostly male dominant societies post sunset. Women do not come out, or even if they go out, they some misconceptions would like it's a bad omen for women to go out post sunset or going alone, or if they go alone, there would be any kind of bad remark that would be kept as to a certain person. The community bonding plays a greater role here, and community identity, because you cannot be an independent. We are highly an interdependent community here. Uh, Somehow the validation of others becomes an important aspect in our lifestyle. Unless they validate, we are not good. Unless they say this person is good, we don't feel. Even you feel that you are a good person, but you need the validation of the others, and somehow that has been ingrained into independent mind, and that is playing a crucial role in gender equality. Now, this study of ours highlights two important sustainable goals. That is number 5, which is gender equality, and number 11, that is sustainable cities and communities. So, but these are the three sites what we have identified in Manipal and Udupi. One is the commercial zone, that is in the Manipal Tiger Circle Junction. The other one is a recreational zone, that is from the junction to the lake entrance, that is a lake area. And the other third one is a temple zone. If just give me 2 minutes, if I'll just take you to this area quickly. So this is the area that takes to the lake. This is how the surrounding looks like. Now this in this road, if you go towards the city, and this road takes you to the lake. This zone is a medium scale industrial zone. Mostly it's the laborers or below poverty line kind of people who stay on this side. So it becomes a kind of stigma that this area is highly unsafe and people avoid this. So if you look at this landscape and the streets here, how this becomes, because if anything happens here, people coming to save you or responding to you is a bit difficult. Look at this landscape around. The lights and the street lights, it's a least occupied zone. Then this is the commercial circle, the city area in Manipal town. This is the main spine, this is a national highway. It's a busy area, but still post 10 or 11, it becomes again mostly male dominated. This is a highway that where we keep going. You have on the one left hand side, you have hospital zone, and on the right hand side, it's a commercial space. But still, people find it a little difficult to fully access this area. Whereas in Udupi district, the Manipal town is considered as one of the safest places. These are the characteristics of the surroundings, and this is the temple complex parking, where people have said that this is one of the areas, potential areas where people, women especially, they feel unsafe. A high compound wall and a lot of parking spaces. After sunset, again, this becomes a complete isolated area. Other than the pilgrims or the religion people who had come to visit the temple, and there are a lot of hawkers. Daytime, absolutely, you don't have much of issues. Getting back to this is the aspect what we are trying to study on this. How women perceive their safety, whether it is induced because of media or induced because of incidents happening in and around, and then tell them don't go out, or is it because of culture or religion, or if not this, is it contextual based? Is it because of the windows or people not coming to help you when you are in need of it? This has to be mapped. So we are just like how I have shown the geotags of the locations. We'll be using the geotags where women, especially, they talk about this area, this particular zone, I feel unsafe to use in certain times of the day or night because of these factors. So we are planning to map it online, and then we are trying that will help us in designing better cities and in better urban design. In fact, you could say, if you bring it down to micro level, it's architectural design. At a larger scale, it is going to be urban design and city design, and that will also help us in framing better policies. Especially when I say policies, it could be in terms of talking about the road width and pedestrian footpath, at what heights the light should be placed, at what how could, if in case of emergency distress, if you need to have emergency numbers or a button, how that could be ingrained into the city, the street design itself. That's how we're planning to bring it to AI and a mobile app where people can update contextual based that this is a safe area, this is unsafe area in a real time scenario, so that it would be better for design architects, urban planners, and policymakers to consider these points when they are coming in through city planning guidelines. So this is about our project. Thank you. And this could include about city planning, right? Architecture and urban design also. We have GIS expertise coming in through. This also helps us in understanding the mobility needs of women. One quick highlight I would like to bring is recently after the Karnataka elections, the Karnataka state elections, they had the government had come up with a free bus ride to women. Because of that, there was a tremendous increase in women opting to travel across. Earlier, women, as per seat, didn't have sufficient money to travel to places, or were feeling uncomfortable or not safe to use different modes of transport. Because of that, now because this Karnataka government has introduced free bus travel to women, they just started traveling everywhere. There is a huge demand, and they are not finding time, not finding space. They are just out, they are enjoying their time. It's really good to see at the same time, like how they have been holding themselves all these years. And now there is an opportunity to explore. They are enjoying it. And one more thing is the Karnataka government has also introduced another scheme, Gruha Lakshmi. Gruha means house, Lakshmi is money. So they have introduced 2,000 rupees monthly to the women who are under the below poverty line and economic weaker sections. So that could give them the money power to purchase or to come up with their needs. Otherwise, you are dependable on other sources of income or maybe no income, which might actually limit your freedom even in terms of movement or purchasing things. So these are the few aspects that we will also look into in our study, and we will be more happy if if anyone is interested to join us on this in the later skills, because this we would like to introduce or in other cities and towns to do a similar projects. Thank you all.